Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the RecPoker podcast. I'm your host, Steve Fredlund, and as always, we are sponsored by Running Aces Casino and Racetrack, so thanks to those guys for their ongoing support. This is episode 127, and it's going to be a little bit different today. We're not going to be talking a lot of strategy. We're not going to have a hand history. Instead, we're going to be talking with two of the folks from the Charity Series of Poker, CSOP, as some of you know it, the founder, Matt Stout, and the VP of Marketing, Lexy Gavin. So I had a chance to sit down with them and do an interview, and so that's what you're going to be hearing here very shortly. Before we do that, just a quick reminder that we are just finished session 6 of the 10 in Crazy Like a Fox, and it's just been fantastic. For those of you who've been a part of it, this last session we talked about psychology, and before that we talked about hand or physical tells, and before that hand reading and math and all of these things. So it's all really integrating well, and so I'm really excited about the series, and I'm excited to make that available to you guys. Once we're done, we'll do some editing, and then we'll make those videos available for those of you who haven't had a chance to be a part of the kind of the interactive discussion. We've had some good Q&A with Fox. We've had some great discussion forum discussion on there as well. So it's really been great. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that once that comes out. Running Aces results for the week ending April 21st. Congratulations to these guys. The top 4, as always, earn tournament lammers, kind of a bonus for good results for the week. So Rick Oman, who's been on just a tear everywhere he goes, he was the player of the week this week with 34 points, followed by the great Kevin Kelsenberg, and then Jason McGuire and Brian Morey, part of RecPoker Nation. So congrats to all of you guys for that. So let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into the interview that I had with Matt Stout and Lexy Gavin from the Charity Series of Poker. All right, guys. Well, as promised, we are here with Matt and Lexy from the Charity Series of Poker. And first of all, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, is to connect with you guys. So it's exciting to actually have this happen. So where are you guys calling in from?
I'm in New York right now.
I'm in Vegas.
Oh, the opposite coast.
And you're Minnesota?
I'm in Minnesota, so I split the difference. So I'm kind of like I'm the average of you two. Something like that. well, cool. So now you guys are involved, obviously, in the Charity Series of Poker. And I know you both play also, and if we have time, we'll kind of get into some of that part of it. But I think the focus for today is really about the Charity Series of Poker. And I'd love to start a little bit, maybe with you, Lexy, as far as, how did you get into poker in the first place? Let's start with just poker in general. Okay. Did you play growing up, or what's your story there?
Yeah, I always played for fun, mostly with my brother, and we went to college together, so we would have home games in our college house. And then I started taking it a little more seriously. I started playing online, and then after I graduated from college, I was thinking about going to law school, and I realized, well, I kind of like poker, and I'm kind of getting good, and I slowly started studying a lot and putting a lot of work in my game, and started winning. And then I was kind of like, I'll hold off on law school for now. And then I started taking it very seriously, and started playing full time. After online poker got banned, I moved up to Canada with a group of friends and started playing online there. And then moved to Vegas, made the switch to live poker, and have been playing live ever since.
Sweet. Now, how about you, Matt? What's your story?
I started playing poker when I was 4 years old, but I didn't play that much until I got into the Hold'em craze at 19, right around the Moneymaker effect. I was already the vice president of Habitat for Humanity for my college, so right after I started playing, I ran my first charity tournament at 19 years old, and started playing for a living 2 years later, traveling around, and took what was supposed to be a year or two off from college because I had made 70 grand in a couple months, and now we're about 12 years, 13 years into that hiatus from school, since things have gone relatively well in the interim.
Yeah, I would say so. I've seen the Hendon Mob. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's going all right. Decent. Hasn't been terrible. We've been getting by, is what I'm getting.
You've been getting by. You're scraping by. Okay, well, that's good to hear. So it's interesting. So you did the first charity tournament before you actually turned pro. So Habitat was part of your life then. Obviously, you've sort of been able to marry these two things, your desire to change the world, I guess, and your desire to play poker. So how have you kind of combined those things? I guess we're getting into the start of how CSOP started, but like, how did you kind of marry those two things?
So in general, like I kind of had a rough childhood and grew up like getting myself in trouble and been arrested a couple of times in high school, was, selling weed and doing all kinds of things at that point. And I was headed down a bad path for sure. And my brother, like, despite the fact that we grew up kind of poor, my brother got into Johns Hopkins and somehow scraped together enough support from our family and an extended network of people who could co-sign loans and stuff that he somehow made that happen. And I'm so competitive with my brother that when he did that, I was just like, well, I'm going to look like a real idiot going to jail or community college at best now. So I started to like get it together after that and kind of change my path. And so he's always been the main positive inspiration in my life. And he was the president of Habitat for Humanity at Johns Hopkins. So I ended up kind of following down a similar path when I finally got into the College of New Jersey. Went down there, I became their vice president. And that's when, around the same time, I had started playing. So we ran that charity tournament. I got some prizes donated. Everyone had a blast. We raised over $1,000. And it was always in the back of my mind as something I really wanted to do once I started playing poker for a living. Online poker getting banned kind of slowed that down a little bit. But then eventually in 2014, I was back in the U.S. a lot and decided it was finally time to start doing what I could to put these things together. Started an annual event in Vegas, at Borgata, and then at Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood. So we had 3 events for the first 4 years. I spent $20,000 of my money and $15,000 that my friends had donated to put together all the event costs and setup costs, got everything I could donated, and ran them as effectively as possible. So the $35,000 that we spent turned into $350K that went directly to the beneficiary charities. We didn't even cover our costs back then. So when I started looking at what other charity tournaments were netting, I was like, where's the money? It made no sense to me why so many of them were making 100% ROI or less and not even doubling the money that they were raising. So at first, we were doing them as 50% of the prize pool and 50% of payouts. And now we've kind of switched the model, doing guaranteed main event seat for first. And now I came in and Daniel Negreanu asked me to take over as the event chair for his St. Jude event, where they spend a lot of money. It's pretty much a big gala event that also has a poker tournament associated with it. And we've cut the expenses and increased the revenue by more than 50% in our first year around with it. So we've kind of turned this into a consulting gig where we help other nonprofits see where they're doing it wrong, or if they haven't run a charity tournament ever, they have no clue where to start. They're kind of intimidated by gaming and all the regulations and everything associated with it. So we kind of know that inside out and backwards, and have developed a relationship with the Gaming Control Board where we can take the registration. We can help these nonprofits set up their own events in a way where they're effective and fun and are going to generate interest from sponsors as well as their donors and network.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm kind of a thing that's near and dear to my heart too. I started a nonprofit doing work in Rwanda, and I've done 7 of these All In for Africa charity tournaments, and that was always the challenge when I first approached the casino with how do we come up with something that's actually adding value to the players, value to the casino, and giving money to the charity. And I worked long and hard on that and kind of came up with a model that really is doing all of those things too. So I understand the balance that you're facing as you're trying to put together those events. Lexy, tell me a little bit about your background in your interest in nonprofit work. Like, is this just a job, or is this something that's kind of near and dear to your heart, or how did you get involved kind of giving back in your own personal life?
It's extremely near and dear to my heart. And I think one of the reasons that Matt, kind of seeked me out is because I have been working with a charity called Support the Kid for Cancer. It's a children's cancer charity. And it was a charity that was started by a friend of mine who passed away. He was diagnosed with synovial sarcoma at an early age. So then after he passed, his friends and family and myself, we carried on the charity. And so I've had a lot of experience, even before I met Matt in nonprofits. So I remember, I think I met you, Matt, at the poker table at the Borgata. I think we were grinding 2-5, right? And we just started talking, and I think we started, talking about, I think I told you about Support the Kid then. And then a friendship kind of developed, and over time, I slowly started working with Matt, helping him out with things here and there. And then he kind of asked me to, become the vice president of marketing. So I took that position and had no idea that we were going to grow so rapidly, so much so quickly. And it's an incredible thing, and I love it. It's CSOP. Matt started this charity, from the ground up, and I was talking to him yesterday. I'm so impressed how he learned to do everything, and just there's so much. It was basically all him, but in a way, CSOP kind of feels a little bit like my baby, because I kind of feel like I've been there from almost the start. So it's very near and dear, and we just want it to grow, and I think it's going to be huge.
When did you join Lexi? Because I think it started 2014. Is that right? And when did you come on board?
I think I was officially on board, Matt, 3 years ago?
2016, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started off by just, going to his events and supporting and, promoting a little bit, but nothing crazy. And I guess we really started working together 3 years ago. And as of a few days ago, I dropped the title of VP of Marketing, and now I'm the official vice president. So looking forward to all of the extra workload he's going to dump on me. I'm ready.
Yeah, I was sick of her being like, this isn't marketing related when I dumped something on her. So I was like, fine, you're the VP. Like,
right, exactly.
Basically, yesterday, and he was teaching me how to, handle gaming applications and dealing with the gaming commission. So
her face,
it's
priceless.
All right, Vice President, welcome to hell.
Right. Let's see. I can't give her this because it's not marketing. What title could I give her so that I can give her this garbage? Right. Genius. Well, congratulations, though. Congratulations on your involvement, the impact you've already had, and now the promotion. That's fantastic.
I'm excited. We're gonna do great work. Excited for us to grow.
Awesome. And so, Matt, it did start in 2014. If the website is correct, I guess. You're kind of the brainchild behind it. And now, kind of as we're sitting here in 2019, I want to talk a bit more about the event specifically, but just kind of what's your vision for? Like, what is ultimately success? If you were to look back 10 years, in 10 years from now, you look back at today and what you've done over those 10 years, like what is it? Like, what do you ultimately want to accomplish? Is it, obviously it can be anywhere from the actual dollars of impact of the different charities to kind of changing the fabric and the perspective of poker players as no longer just degenerates, but giving back to the world, or, what does that look like for you to say, man, this was successful. This is exactly what I wanted to accomplish.
For me, I want this to be the model and the simple logistical solution for any worthy and legitimate nonprofit to make more money and raise more money and engage their base in a way that's fun for them, raises a lot of money. And a side benefit is obviously, we have a lot of negative things that happen in poker. We want to offset that with the positive. And we want to be reflecting positively on the community and reminding people that it's not just a bunch of people gambling in the desert. Like, these people have hearts. They have a lot of philanthropic endeavors and desire to give back. And that, poker has already become the number one way for charities to raise money, and we want them doing it the right way. We want people to run tournaments with integrity. Even when it's a charity event, it's important that they're being run the proper way. And, with the proper regulations, giving out the right prizes and everything's done in a way where it's not going to actually become a negative for poker. There have been charity events in the past that were run by unscrupulous people or were for, causes that were not worth giving money to. So we sort of vet all of our potential beneficiaries, and we try to help them run the tournaments as effectively and legitimately as possible. So we want to become the national, even international solution where we can send someone to your event. We'll have an event coordinator, and Lex and I will come out, show them exactly how this needs to be done, how the sponsorship deck needs to be set up, how the step and repeat needs to be for people to take photos before the event, getting a professional photographer there, running registration the proper way, setting up the silent auction in a way where the items are going to catch people's interest and people are going to bid on them, having people there to help them with the online bidding process, putting your silent auction online. There's so many things that I didn't realize were part of running a good charity poker tournament that it blows my mind. Over the past 5 years, I've learned how to do all of this like inside and out, and have been able gotten to the point where, I can't train someone how to do something if I don't know how to do it myself. So I put myself through the steps of learning everything we do inside and out so that I can explain it to all of our volunteers, to my staff, to everyone. And it's been quite a journey. And I think that we're getting to the point where even when we come in for an event like the St. Jude event that has been run for 5 years by people who run, national events for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and they know how to run these galas, we're the solution that they need to be able to run the poker side of it properly. And we've also learned a lot from each other about the best and most effective ways to do things and to set up the sponsorship decks and engage your partners and keep the sponsors and donors coming back year after year, and making an event where they're going to remember it. They're going to want to come back, and they're going to want to bring a friend. They're going to tell them, like, I had an awesome time at this event last year. You should come with me.
Right.
I think what makes us valuable is the fact that we are professional poker players. So we are familiar with, writing the tournament structure and doing all that. Whereas, organizations, they love the idea of holding a poker charity tournament, but they really don't know, really how to run it correctly.
So what do you find is kind of the biggest challenge of, I guess some of those you've been running for a while, but if you're trying to set up a new thing, what's the biggest challenge? Is it getting the casino on board? Is it figuring out what the charitable cause is going to be? Is it getting the donations and the players to get engaged? What's the biggest challenge that always kind of seems to crop its head when you're entertaining something new?
Getting people in the door year one. I mean, it's not that. I mean, we have enough of a network where we can help with a lot of different sponsors, Poker News and Faded Spade. I'm going to forget some key ones. Poker Go. There's different companies in poker that have done a lot, run good gear that they donate to us event after event. And we have a network where as soon as we tell them, they're like, yeah, we're on board. So we already have kind of a built-in network where we'll have a lot of things donated and get a lot of our people who support all CSOP events on board. But then getting the beneficiary to help get their donors and stuff engaged in the event to show up in the first year. The events grow really well year after year. People are going to come back. People are going to bring friends. Like I said, they pretty easily tend to have an uptick as soon as you get them going. But just marketing it to the mainstream, getting people out that aren't necessarily in the poker community, and things like that. Just it's always tough just setting something up and making it happen. Like the first time, it's always a huge challenge and gives me a little more anxiety. Whereas once you've run something 2-3 years, the same people are coming back and they're going to bring a friend.
Yeah, for sure. So Lexy, I'm curious, sort of, how do you? Both of you have a heart for the charitable causes that you're involved with, I assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing them. And I know you have 7 of them listed out on the website. I'm sure there's others, including the one that you mentioned, Lexy. How do you balance staying engaged with that side of it, with the heart side of it, with the ultimate goal of what you're doing and the true impact that you're having, right? Because at the end of the day, money is going to an organization that could radically change the world in a positive way. But you're sort of, what you have to do is all this organizational stuff. You know what I mean? Like you have to organize all of it, all the management stuff. And so what do you do for you personally to make sure that you stay engaged with the heart side of it and why you do what you do, even in the middle of, Matt dumping now stuff beyond marketing on you? How do you keep that ultimate goal in front of mind?
Just attending the events and, seeing how much money we raise and just knowing, that these charities are benefiting so much from what we do is enough for me. And, we work with a lot with St. Jude, and I just went to, they have a leadership convention every year in Memphis, Tennessee. And I went there for the first time this year, and you can actually see the patients, these kids, they come up and they speak, and we get to visit the hospitals. So just things like that, it just makes it all worth it for me. Yeah.
Same question for you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that going to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis would be like a real, difficult experience, and you'd be shocked to see the kids just are happy. They seem like they're not undergoing cancer treatment. They're not on the verge of dying. Like it's incredible to see the way they set up that building, the way they really, everything's so colorful, everything feels like a playground. And we had a whole lineup of people who were in the hallway and kind of blocking a somewhat narrow hallway. And one of the patients came up behind us like, excuse me, sick kid coming through. And he's like practically laughing while everyone like just got into the hospital. Everyone's like, and just seeing where the money's going, seeing the impact that we're having is pretty awesome. I also plan to do a lot more in terms of, it's hard to run an event in the United States that's for international causes, and the most effective way to give to charity is usually going to be international, since costs of living and cost of supplies are so much lower in other countries. So we're also going to start doing some fundraisers where the net proceeds after CSOP pays its bills for the year are also going to support some of the most effective charities in the world, so that we're giving back on an international scale and not just nationally.
Very cool. Okay.
And, I also just wanted to say that I just wanted to thank Lexi for all her hard work with CSOP. And she's the main reason that I say we when I talk about CSOP. People have asked me, because I'm the face of it. They're like, why are you saying we? Like, I'm not going to talk about CSOP as I. It's me, it's Lexi, it's Veronica, it's everyone else who helps coordinate the website, coordinate the media, do our marketing, our creative, our graphics. All of the sponsors that help make this what it is.
Yeah, I think people never realize, how much goes into that sort of stuff. I mean, I know I've done the charity events on a smaller scale, and people have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, or even doing a podcast like this. People are like, oh, whatever, you do it and you record it, whatever. I think that's the true heart of sort of small business is all of those things. And frankly, if people don't know that you're having to do all the work, it's probably a good sign. But yeah, thanks to you, Lexi, on behalf of Matt too, there for all the work. Because I get it. I get it. It's a lot of work.
So 5 months ago, my first child was born the same day that we had our first event for the Golden Knights Foundation.
Congrats.
And thanks.
What's that, Lexi? What was that?
Also my birthday.
On your birthday?
Yeah. Details.
I had that happen.
I delivered her flowers on her birthday when I showed up at Planet Hollywood, okay?
Well, at least you'll remember her birthday now, too. I had that happen. I had a nephew born on my birthday, and it's like my birthday immediately meant nothing. Like, it was just over. that was just it.
Yeah, my birthday is December 12th, so we were pretty close to that happening.
What was that, Lexi?
Veronica is our event coordinator. She's December 11th, right?
December 11th, yeah. She's a day older than I am.
Okay, anyway, Matt,
what I was getting at was, it's funny that you said that people don't realize how much goes into these events, but during that event, Lexi actually came up to me and was like, I had no idea the kind of stuff you get put through during each event. I was like, good, you're going to help know all these answers so that you can help put out these fires. And I think we'll mingle and play poker in the future.
Because Matt wasn't there. This was was this our biggest event at the time that we had ever run? I think it was, right?
Not revenue-wise, because the previous St. Jude event that we were somewhat involved with, but not leading, was a revenue event.
It was still a really big event. I think we raised over $200,000 for that one. But I was not expecting Matt not to be there, and his child just so happened to be born on that day. So it was like, all right, Lexi and Veronica, you're gonna do all of this. And I couldn't I was like, okay, yeah, I got this, no problem. And then I get there, and there are a million people coming at every single angle. Can you fix the temperature? What's going on with the food? What's going on with it? I'm like, everyone, oh my God, leave me alone. Where is Matt? I want to cry.
Wait, that's not even the real problems that were going on. The real problems were things like, hey, all the seats are sold out, and we have the senior VP of iHeartRadio who was comped into the tournament, and we don't have a seat for him. And we don't have the floor people with chips paired with the people with iPads taking the payment so that they can get the chips to the players. We had one person who had migrated over from the registration team to the rebuy and add-on team. So technically, we had one person trying to process rebuys and add-ons for 24 tables in the tournament where everyone's all.
Oh yeah, and then Matt Savage coming up to me, he's like, "Okay, let's see. Here's the microphone. Make a speech." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So then I'm up there and I'm making my speech, and I'm like, "And I would like to thank Planet Hollywood, and I would like to thank blah blah blah, and then I would like to thank." And I blanked on his name. I didn't get his name in, but he was like, one of the head people of Vegas Golden Knights Foundation.
Yeah.
And he was like, I remember he was bad.
Well, that's but that's it. That's it. It's all the major things that you anticipate having to deal with, and then it's everything else. So
Matt actually showed up for like an hour, and I was so relieved. I was like, okay, Matt, deal with this, and that.
Yeah, I was on strict orders after Brittany, the birth went well. Brittany and the baby were going to try to go to sleep. And I told Brittany I wasn't even going to go to the event. And I had various people texting my phone, like, are you really not going to come? Like, Matt Savage dang on the ground. Or like, you're not even going to stop by? Like, all right. So Mama finally let me out of the hospital in strict orders to be back by 7. So I rolled in there, put out like 8 fires, had someone threaten me with a lawsuit, had to get the rebuys and add-ons processing, had to do an interview. There were just like a lot of things going on. And Lexi watched me just kind of bounce around the room trying to put out as many fires as I could while like other people are coming up to me and I have to prioritize everything and apologize to people that I couldn't talk to them at the moment. And I could see her looking at me like, what the hell? And then she came up to me later. She's like, I had no idea what you go through the event day. I was like,
majority of my work is like leading up to the event. Like I do like a lot of the marketing and a lot of the promoting and stuff like that. But like day of, I'll hand out flyers and I'll help with whatever they need. But I did not know that there were that many people that could, need things.
This is why you got promoted now. This is why you're promoted.
Yeah, I'm ready though. That was a good practice. That was definitely
right. Well, hopefully, I mean, I know you're dealing with big wigs and you're dealing with all these, quote unquote important people or whatever. But I would just hope that, when you're dealing with a tournament like this, a charity tournament, I would hope that there's more grace, that people are going to have a little more leniency if you forget their name or you forget to stop by or your child has been born and you're not there. I mean, I think, I know you're kind of walking this tightrope between it's a big deal and all of those things with, hey, at the end of the day, this is for charity. And you just hope that people are going to have a little more grace on that side of it.
They do tend to, but we hold yourself to a pretty high standard. Which is ironic.
No question.
Literally no competition. Like, you can't go find anyone else who's going to help you run a charity poker tournament, file a gaming application, figure out all the little things. Like, are you going to go to Arizona and do it for someone with talking sticks up?
Sure. I mean, yeah, right. No, I get it. Yeah. I
mean, like, I'm just saying that when I met with the Golden Knights Foundation initially, they were like, correct me if I'm wrong, you have no competition. Like, so when they Googled, like, all right, we need someone to help us run charity poker tournaments, they couldn't come up with anything.
Right.
But we were the only option. So I was kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it's kind of cool to think of it that way. But even though we have no competition, we hold ourselves to a high standard just because we have high expectations.
Yeah, as well you should, obviously, as well you should, especially if they're paying or they're asking you to come in and help them out. You want to make sure that you're delivering on everything that you promised as well. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. I think we've got about 15 minutes left. Is that still cool with you guys? About 15 more minutes? I want to honor your time. But you have an event coming up, and I know you just finished some other events, and I could talk for half an hour about each one. I'm so curious about all of them. But the one coming up on May 19th, I believe that is your next event. And, what's that?
Our next event is May 11th.
Oh, okay. I looked on the website. I didn't see it. So maybe talk about what's coming up in the next month or two, whatever you see coming up, that especially if they're open to the public. We've got a lot of people that are listening to this podcast, a lot of recreational players that have maybe never participated in a bigger event. So talk a little bit about what's coming up, especially those that maybe people might be interested in across the country.
Well, later today, and hopefully by the time this podcast airs or this interview airs, will be we'll have the new website launch. That's why we didn't have the information up there. We're in the middle of rebranding the entire
okay.
website, flyers, and everything, so that everything's kind of the same branding specifications. That should be up today or tomorrow. We have an event May 11th. It's presented by Golden Knights Foundation, and it's benefiting the Golden Knights sled hockey team and Faith Lutheran hockey team. So the Golden Knights sled hockey team is the paralyzed players and otherwise differently able people who play on sleds. It's pretty awesome to watch, actually, and the Golden Knights sled hockey team has kind of mirrored the Golden Knights' success and become one of the top contenders in the NHL sled hockey across the country. So we're running a fundraiser for them and for Nevada's first hockey team at the high school level, which is Faith Lutheran Hockey. So we're doing an event at Red Rock May 11th. It's $300 buy-in with $100 rebuys and add-ons. There'll be a silent auction as well. So we take over Crimson Nightclub for that event, the same venue we used for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital event. So we have just a huge bar and then poker tables set up all around it in a nightclub that we take over. It's a pretty awesome little venue. And that should be a fun event. It's the first time we're running this event for them. And
is that open to the public, Matt, or are these all invite only, or are they open to the public?
Yeah, all of our events are open to the public. I need to start putting on all the flyers. I have this general assumption that people know that, but I know it's not the case, and that a lot of times people know that, like, when celebrities are involved, a lot of times they're private events and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, all of our events are always open to the public.
And Daniel Negreanu will be emceeing that event. So if anybody is a Negreanu fan, come on down.
Okay.
Yeah, first place is a $10,000 World Series poker main event seat too. So you're not just playing for nothing. We also have a lot of fun prizes. Like we give $1,000 to the chip leader at the end of rebuy and add-ons, and another $1,000 to whoever has the chip or whoever is in for the most rebuys and add-ons.
Okay, right.
So we've got the biggest loser prize of $1,000 cash.
Right.
But that usually creates a little action, especially toward the end when people are yelling across the room, "How many rebuys are you in for?" "I'm in for 15. I'm in for 17. I'm all in."
Right. Okay. So, Lexi, what's your take on that event coming up? What's your involvement, and what do you think about that one?
On the May 11th event?
Yeah.
Just same. I mean, same as what I always do. I do, all of the promoting and social media for it and marketing and. Yeah, that event I actually is one of the first ones I'm not going to be at actually.
Oh, okay.
All of our events are so much fun. So yeah, if you're in there.
And then May 19th, is that the one? Is that the next one then?
That is, yes, that is the one that we wanted to really promote. It's actually our first ever golf and poker charity tournament. So this should be interesting. We're not too knowledgeable about golf, so hopefully. I'm sure that part will, hopefully that goes well. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be at the Park Hyatt of the Ara in Carlsbad, California, and it's benefiting the Fold a Flag Foundation. So
if somebody shows up to that one, let's just say somebody shows up, they say, I can make it there, I'm going to drive there, I'm going to fly in, whatever it is, what would they expect coming to that event, or even in general, CSOP event, just because, like you said, for, a lot of people know that it's open to the public, but for a lot of us, we're recreational players. Maybe we're starting to move up in stakes. Maybe we're starting to get involved more. We really don't know much about it other than, hey, that's kind of a cool thing. So, use this opportunity to kind of tell people what would they expect if they show up into the hotel or into the bar or the restaurant, wherever you guys are, and say, hey, I'm here to play. What would they expect?
A day-long party.
Yes, exactly. It's so we always have a VIP reception party with heavy hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, and that's where everyone kind of mingles and listens up. And then the tournament is always afterwards. And it's actually probably good for recreational players because, some recreational players may feel intimidated playing with professional poker players. And a large majority of the people that do come to events are professionals. But the good thing is that the professional poker players look at it as a drunk fest. You play the worst possible poker you can. So that's very beneficial to the recreational players. So they shouldn't feel intimidated. And if you actually take it serious, I mean, there are very good prizes to be won and some real money up top. So just, what to expect is just to have a great time, enjoy yourself, mingle. We usually have some kind of celebrity there, athletes. Yeah, so it's always a really good time.
Yeah, I mean, you also to the point of people being intimidated. This is an opportunity for you to play with Daniel Negreanu and Anthony Zeno and Chance Kornuth and all these people who have won millions and millions and millions of dollars and all these titles. But they're having a couple drinks and more than happy to explain to you like how the game works. They don't care if they have to tell you how to post your blinds, and like they're having fun. No one's going to be annoyed that you're slowing down the action. And like it's just a much different vibe than even if you went into like your local casino to play 1-2, and you're gonna have people there that are like annoyed when you take too long to act, or you don't know when you're supposed to post or when it's your turn.
Yeah, people actually do play the worst possible poker, and our events are bounty events. So what we do is we put a bounty on the pros or celebrities. So if you knock out that pro or celebrity, you get some kind of prize. So you can always walk away with bragging rights. I knocked out Daniel Negreanu, or I knocked out Matt Stout, or whoever.
And I know we emailed a little bit about this. When do you guys announce like who's going to be there? Because I'm intrigued about coming out on May 19th to the Folded Flag. I just think that'd be super fun. I love to meet you guys in person, or at least who's ever there. But kind of when could recreational players know like who's going to be there? Like if one of their favorite players is going to be at one of these events, do you guys release it on the website like in advance, or is it kind of kept under the vest until the day of?
Well, the flyers that we put out a little closer to the event date will have that information. It's always kind of tricky trying to nail down everyone's schedules and get a final list. You don't want to publish someone's going to be there when they're not sure. We're not paying appearance fees ever. All these people show up out of the goodness of their hearts. So when you have people volunteering, it's a little tricky to get them to commit 4 months in advance and be able to put that on the flyer. So we try to keep the website and the flyers updated as we go, so that anytime you go to the website, it'll have the most current information on who we expect to appear.
Okay, and so how can people connect with you? What's the website, and what's the Twitter? What are all the different ways that the RecPoker Nation can connect with you guys and start to follow you and maybe get plugged in on a deeper level?
For sure, we'll have the mailing list sign up on our website when it's launched at CharitySeriesOfPoker.org. The Twitter is the CSOP, CHDCSOP, and Facebook is just Charity Series of Poker, and our Instagram is Lexi.
Charity Series of Poker.
Okay. I remember if that was the CSOP or Charity Series of Poker, because she does the Instagram.
Well, not anymore. She's not marketing exclusively now. That's maybe she should get rid of that.
That's just 20% of her work now.
Oh yeah.
Just wait until she has to file her first gaming control board application next week.
I'm already panicked about that.
Great.
I called my parents yesterday. I was like, I have to learn how to do gaming applications. What am I going to do? I don't know. They're like, Lex, you'll get it.
You'll get it. Everybody believes that you'll get it.
Well, let me copy and paste from the first. It's not that hard.
He's throwing terms at me like, all right, Lex, I need you to fill out this ENF 120 or ENF 130 and this W9 and this, that. That's gonna explode.
Look, don't worry, you'll get it. I gotta go.
And
it's time for me to take the baby.
Matt talks so fast, and he like goes through things and explains things like this, and that, and I'm like, okay, wait, show me how to like copy and paste this into our Dropbox. Literally happened yesterday. He's like, are you really asking me that?
I wasn't going to call you out.
I was never computer savvy ever, so I'm learning this as I go, and that frustrates Matt sometimes. But I keep,
I can see this as a problem to have you guys on the show at the same time. I might need to divide and conquer here a little bit. I'm sitting here in Switzerland and Minnesota between New York and Vegas trying to kind of hold you at bay. No, it sounds like you guys have a good, fun working relationship. And yeah, there you go, Matt. Exactly.
I have every possible relationship other than a romantic relationship. Where, we started as, best friends. And then I hired him as my poker coach. And then I started working with him with CSOP. And, so we talk pretty much every single day. And we fight like brother and sister sometimes, but we just have this mutual love for each other, right? But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
We do know how to balance each other out, I think.
I could sense that on email. So I got an email from Lexi that's wondering, hey, is this just audio today or is this just video? I don't know which it is. And I'm thinking, okay, well, she just kind of wants to know what equipment she needs to have or whatever. So I respond. And then Matt, of course, chimes in right before. She just wants to know if she has to do her hair and makeup. So what's the truth, Lexi? Why did you ask that question?
I'm going to say Matt kind of knows.
Look at her. You can tell. Meanwhile, 2 minutes.
I'm wearing sneakers and
Nice. Yeah, I've got shorts on too. Nobody ever knows. It's the beauty of doing these sorts of things. Nobody has a clue what you're wearing. Well, I want to honor your time. Let me give you guys each a last word. I guess we'll go Lexi first, and Matt. Kind of, what's kind of the one thing we didn't talk about that you'd really love? We got several thousand people out here listening to this show that have maybe never really looked up, Charity Series of Poker, have never really investigated playing in one of these events or knowing what it is that you do, the impact that you're having. So with that, just kind of give you guys each last word. Like, what do you want people to know? What's going to intrigue people enough to kind of check out your story?
Just know that we are trying to help as many different charities as possible. And, we have nothing but good intentions. And we always throw a really fun event. And don't be intimidated. Just come on down. Even if you're not very familiar with poker, it doesn't matter. You can even attend our events, you could just join the VIP reception party. You don't have to play the tournament if you don't want to. Just come, have fun, have some drinks, dance, there's always music. So just come on down. It's a really good time and you get to meet, you never know who you're going to get to meet and help. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to do things like the best way possible. We charge fees so low for the setup of these events that like these beneficiaries laugh. They're like, really? Why are you not charging more? We're just trying to set this up in a way where it's the most simple logistical solution to run these events as effectively as possible. A lot of our events are showing 200 to 300% return on investment now for the setup costs, which is kind of where the 5-year goal is for a lot of events. Like the Golden Knights Foundation was like, oh, it's fine if we have 80% expenses to revenue in event one and kind of build that out to the point where it's 20 to 25% over the 5-year plan. The first event we ran for them ran at under 30% expenses, and we're going to try to get that under 15% so that every event we're doing has a 600 or 700% ROI because of the Golden Knights Foundation name in Vegas. There's a lot of things that you can leverage so that we run events where they're for the right causes that have been vetted properly and they're run as effectively as possible while still giving some pretty huge prizes and making sure everyone has a good time.
Yeah, cool. I think I've been involved in nonprofit leadership for a long, long time. And I think that the things that people are always looking for the most is the money managed well, are things run well, and how do I know that there's actually impact happening? So it sounds like you guys are on the right track as far as making sure those things are happening because they're all important. And for sure. So I think that would be my encouragement to the people that are out there is, hey, this is run well. It's done professionally. They're trying to reduce the costs. And the impact they're having is fantastic. Check out the dollars that have been donated. Check out the list of the 7 charities that are out there. They're very different charities, but they're all changing the world in dramatic ways. So get out there, man. Play poker, have fun, meet your heroes, live it up, and just have a blast with these guys. So Matt and Lexi, I mean, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate it. Middle of your days, I know taking the time isn't always easy. You have to do your hair and makeup. I know you have to put on the CSOP t-shirt. I know that's a pain. All of these difficult things that are going into anytime you do a podcast video. So thank you guys very much. And best of luck in the tournament. And we'll be in touch. I am really interested in coming out for the May 19th thing. That way I can report firsthand rather than just sort of telling people, hey, trust me, I think it's really good. I'd like to get out there, experience it, and then tell people. So hopefully we can make that happen. But thank you guys so very much. And best of luck on both the events coming up here in May and obviously going forward.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Yep. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Well, thanks so much to Matt and Lexi for joining us. Just super interesting information. I love their heart. I love their excitement and their passion for combining their their desire to play poker with their desire to change the world, and that's just kind of fun to see. So thanks to you guys for joining us there, and thanks again to Running Aces, as always, for being our official sponsor. Make sure you check out RecPokerTraining.com. A lot of different things out there that you can get plugged in with. Sign up for the newsletter. I send stuff out every once in a while with updates, so that way you can stay informed and get any discounts that we're offering. And something I mentioned once in a while is we do have a number of folks that are supporting us on Patreon. If you're one of those folks that's just sort of enjoying this free content and you want to support what I'm doing with this deal, go to patreon.com. You can support RecPoker for as little as $1 a month. Certainly no obligation, no guilt, nothing like that at all. But if you're thinking, man, I'd like to support that deal and I'm not really buying any products, that would be a great way to do it. And obviously, we would be thrilled if you'd come alongside of us in that way. So until next week, which will be Andrew Brokus is scheduled to be on the show next week. Super excited about that. So until then, good luck on and off the felt.